Seems like a lot of people really enjoyed watching the Summer Olympics from Paris, tuning in to Simone Biles, Katie Ledecky, and Steph Curry. Team USA won 40 gold medals, same as China. But ours were legit. I never trust those Chinese. Don't know what they're doing over there, frankly. Next up, the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. Hey, I'm in LA. Are we excited here? Gotta tell you, not really. The mayor, Karen Bass, just detailed that this will be the first car-free Olympics. Think about that. A car-free Olympics in Los Angeles. Frankly, I would prefer an Olympics-free Olympics in Los Angeles, and we can do it. Already canoeing and swimming are scheduled to be held in Oklahoma City, which I'm told by Fox News' Laura Ingraham is California's third largest city. That's a start. Hey, let's put archery in Anchorage, and baseball in Boise, and boxing in Boston, and cycling in Cincinnati, and fencing in Fort Worth, and weightlifting in West Virginia, and high jump in Helena, and pole vault in Pittsburgh, and the decathlon in Decatur. We'll keep table tennis because I love ping pong, and I'll be able to drive to it easy with everything else being out of town. But trust me, as Snoop Dogg is my witness, if I see any skateboarders or breakdancers other than at Venice Boardwalk, I will go gambling mad! Norman Chad. Norman Chad. Norman Chad. Norman Chad. Norman Chad. And welcome to Gambling Mad with Norman Chad. Tragically, I remain Norman Chad. Gambling Mad, as always, brought to you by Fritos. Picked daily off of Central California trees every morning, straight to your retailer every afternoon. And by Fresca. Recuperating, refreshing, remarkable. It's Fresca. Fritos and Fresca. It's a meal. Coming up today on Gambling Mad, Serena Williams gets hot and bothered at dinner. The newest chess move gambit is to poison your opponent. And don't forget to go to church this weekend. You might win a gun. But first, I don't much like Jim Harbaugh. Just don't care for the cut of his jib. I also don't like the NCAA. Then again, who does like the NCAA? Well, here's the thing. At least Harbaugh is a winner on the field. The NCAA is always a loser off the field. So recently, the NCAA completed an investigation of Harbaugh and Michigan when he was football coach there. And they cited him for a boatload of recruiting violations and unethical conduct. A lot of serious stuff, plus something, believe it or not, as stupid as buying a prospect a bacon cheeseburger at a local diner while recruiting him. Yes, a bacon cheeseburger. Now, to clarify, it was a bacon cheeseburger at breakfast. Maybe that broke some NCAA rule, a burger for breakfast. Anyway, the NCAA had Harbaugh nailed. Violation after violation, absolutely nailed. So what is the punishment? Now listen carefully. Jim Harbaugh, who is currently under contract to coach the NFL's Los Angeles Chargers through 2028, has been banned from college athletics through 2028. That'll teach them, fellas. Serena Williams was in Paris during the Olympics. She wanted to eat with her kids at a restaurant in the Peninsula Hotel where she had dined before, but she was told that they were fully booked. Now, Serena is one of the greatest athletes in American history, but we have seen her get upset with tennis umpires when things don't go her way, and she also got upset with the Peninsula restaurant when they did not accommodate her. She posted this on X. Yikes, Peninsula. I've been denied access to eat. Always a first. Okay. Denied access? This makes it sound as if there's some larger issue at play. Okay, listen up, Rosa Parks Jr. The restaurant was booked. The restaurant decided not to make room for a celebrity. The restaurant then even apologized after her post, explaining the situation and welcoming her back at any time. End of story. Now, Serena, I too have been denied access to a restaurant in which I did not have a reservation. So what did I do? I went to another restaurant. It's that simple. Okay? You were in Paris. There are countless places to eat. I've seen it on TikTok. Now, on the Champs-Élysées alone, there is a McDonald's, kid-friendly, in which you just order through a kiosk, and no matter how crowded it is, a few minutes later, you pick up your food and you pick out your own table. By the way, if I can be candid here, I have eaten at that McDonald's, and the food is awful. It is terrible. What are you going to do? Degen's gonna degen, case number 1. What do figure skating and chess have in common? I'll tell you what they have in common, but don't rush me. I'm not going to be rushed. "30 years ago, there was the attack on Nancy Kerrigan. Tanya Harding's husband, Jeff Gillooly, hired someone to whack Kerrigan's right leg with a baton to prevent her from participating in the U.S. Figure Skating Championships and in the Winter Olympics. 30 years later, a Russian chess champion attempted to poison an opponent by rubbing a toxic chemical onto a chessboard before a tournament. It was all caught on camera, according to the British newspaper, The Sun. Before a competition in southern Russia, Amina Abakarova was seen dousing what is alleged to be mercury onto the board of her rival, Umaganet Osmanova. She smeared some dark gray powder on the side of the board Osmanova was going to be sitting at. Osmanova played and became ill with severe dizziness and nausea. Abakarova reportedly confessed to the plot to poison Osmanova and could face jail time of up to 3 years if convicted. Why did she do it? Abakarova, according to law enforcement, accused Osmanova of being rude to her and talking badly about her behind her back. Not making this up. And by the way, if I can speak for the checkers community, we are much friendlier. We root for each other's success, and frankly, we think chess players, are a bit stuffy and arrogant. Degen's gonna degen, case number 2. Talani Carter, 41 years old, recently returned to a St. Louis Jack in the Box she had been to 3 days earlier to complain that they had shorted her one chicken strip on her last order. Now, I gotta be honest, I don't like the sound of this already. The store manager replaced the chicken strip, but according to Yahoo News, Carter spit in the manager's face because there wasn't enough ranch dressing. As Carter left, the manager went outside and took a photo of her license plate. Carter noticed this. She didn't like this. She put her car into reverse and ran back into the manager, knocking her to the ground and injuring her leg. Carter was charged with second-degree and fourth-degree assault. As usual, several things to unwrap here. 1, don't go to Jack in the Box. 2, don't count the chicken strips. It's too stressful, and it can lead to nasty situations just like this one. 3, what exactly is ranch dressing? Bad choice. And 4, I hate to repeat myself, but I don't care if they are open 24 hours, 7 days a week. Do not go to Jack in the Box. As some of you know, I am proudly and staunchly anti-gun. I'm just not in favor of gun control. I am in favor of gun abolition. And I've got to say, I think I'm losing this battle here in America. River Church, Kansas City in Lenexa, Kansas, had a raffle on Father's Day. And according to KSHB-TV, the winner received an AR-15 rifle. Okay. We're talking about a place of worship giving away a semi-automatic firearm that can eviscerate multiple people in seconds and giving it away on a Sunday. Then on the 4th of July, River Church had another raffle, and they gave away 3 more firearms. The pastor, Christopher Zenner, said that the giveaways have brought so many more people into church services that they're likely to do it again at Christmas. The pastor said, quote, "A gun is a blessing because here in America we have what's called the Second Amendment. Christ gives us freedom and we are free Americans," end quote. Now, I have reviewed almost all of Jesus Christ's teachings and writings and public statements, and nowhere does he ever mention any firearms. I mean, he never ever mentions guns at all. Hammers? Sure, hammers. He was a carpenter. A lot of mentions of hammers, but nothing about guns. So I think the good pastor is taking some liberties here in connecting Christ's spiritual messages with the Second Amendment. By the way, my proposal to abolish all guns includes squirt guns. Yeah, I never liked getting water splashed in my face as a kid. I was wearing glasses. I can't see. You put the water in there. What do you want me to do? No more guns! And now it is time for our latest installment of Overlooked Inventions. I was recently reading a diary entry from my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, Nathan, in which he wrote, "I have no idea what I look like. Thus, I have no idea who I am, and I have no idea if I need to shave." Now, my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, Nathan, lived a long, long time ago. He lived inland, and he lived alone. He was divorced. What a shock. He did not live near any body of water, no lakes, no creeks, no rivers, no streams nearby. Now, back then, that was the only way that my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather Nathan would be able to see his own reflection through some type of water. That's the only way he could do it before the mirror came along. The mirror is an overlooked invention. Okay? How could we live without the mirror? The mirror tells us who we are. The mirror tells us how we look. The mirror tells us when to comb our hair. Can you imagine going way back in time again that someone like Pericles, okay, this was an important fellow back in ancient Greece. I mean, heck, it was called the Age of Pericles. That's how important this guy was. Can you imagine being a mover and shaker like Pericles, and you live your entire life without even knowing if you have dimples? And these days, can you imagine just on a practical level trying to drive without a rear view or side view mirror? Actually, in LA, that's exactly what we do. Anyway, in the 21st century, nobody can live without the mirror. Oh my God! How come nobody ever told me? What am I that scary to you? You can't tell me that's what I look like? Hair and makeup! I've been doing this for 3 months. Nobody tells me this is what I look like. I think they sabotaged me. I was driving in for today's podcast. I get a text from one of my closest friends who tells me that Taco Bell is bringing back burgers. Okay. I immediately brake. Okay. I put my car in park. Everyone's honking at me behind me on Wilshire Boulevard because I'm in the left lane. I had my emergency blinkers on because I got to absorb this information before I come in here. First of all, I never knew that Taco Bell had burgers before. They now are bringing burgers back. Okay? You are Taco Bell. You're not Burger Bell. Burger King doesn't do tacos. Taco Bell doesn't do burgers. Do what you know. You don't see Ben and Jerry's selling frittatas and stereo equipment. Do what you know. Look at Radio Shack. Look what happened to Radio Shack. They originally sold only radios. Then they start selling everything else under the sun. They went out of business. Do what you know and do what you do well, Taco Bell. And what is that? Actually, they don't do anything well. They do nothing well, but it works for you. Stick to tacos. No burgers, only tacos. And remember, I don't care if they're open 24/7. Do not go to Jack in the Box. Do not go to Taco Bell. Did somebody say go to Domino's? I tell you, these people are trying to kill me. Worst pizza alive. Before we wrap up, I'm going to say this one time and one time only. We need meteorologists. You know, and also, who doesn't like the friendly weekend weatherman on your local TV news? These days, it's usually a weekend weather woman wearing a very, very short dress. Just saying. Well, here's the deal. Donald Trump's Project 2025 buddies have a plan to get rid of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. That's the federal agency that spends a lot of time studying climate impact. So let me, if I may, characterize the mindset here of our twice impeached former president. For starters, he had told us COVID was no more than a fancy flu. Then when COVID numbers started to go up in 2020, Trump suggested that if we stopped testing for COVID, the numbers would stop going up. That is so stupid, I will never, ever repeat it. Similarly, Trump believes, that climate change, like COVID, is a hoax. So he thinks that if you ignore global warming, it does not exist. He thinks if you get rid of all of the thermometers, temperatures cannot rise. You know, there's actually a quirky brilliance to Trump's sensibility. You know, for instance, if you only count the ballots in the presidential election of those people who voted for Trump, he would win in a landslide. Cool. That'll wrap up another edition of Gambling Mad with Norm and Chad. Hope to see you next time. And remember, if you're gonna roll the dice, make sure they're loaded.
Gambling Mad with Norm Chad is written by Norm Chad and ghostwritten by Norm Chad. Executive producer John Scheinberg, Rick Barrio-Dill, and produced by Norm Chad and Rick Barrio-Dill. Associate producer is Bree Khoury. Showrunner is Dan Telfer. Audio, video, engineering, and studio facilities provided by 360 Pod Studios Beverly Hills and Slap Studios LA. If you want to complain to Norm about anything, make sure to reach out at Gambling Mad Show, anywhere you get your socials, and at Gambling Mad with Norm Chad on YouTube. And if you really want to get at him, send a message to info@slapstudiosla.com. And big thanks to Tony, the special sauce, who truly is the boss. Thank you for the cookies and the treats. We promise you to make the post-production move faster.